Tennessee is known for its rolling hills, deep forests, and the echo of music that seems to rise from the very soil itself. But behind the beauty of its landscapes and the glow of neon lights in Nashville, shadows stir. Some say the land remembers every note played, every secret buried, and every scream swallowed by the mountains. Tonight, we'll step into places where the music never dies, where roads twist into nightmares, and where the past refuses to rest. If you dare follow, keep your eyes sharp and your breath steady. 1. The Hermitage, Nashville, Tennessee. Just east of Nashville sits the Hermitage, once the grand plantation home of President Andrew Jackson. The grounds seem calm in daylight, but as dusk falls, the mansion reveals a far darker presence, with its long history of slavery, political power, and death. It is little surprise that spirits are said to walk the property. Tour guides have long whispered about strange occurrences, candle flames snuffed out by invisible hands, portraits that seem to watch as you move, and unexplained cold spots drifting through the rooms. Guests claim to hear hushed conversations in empty corridors, the sound of boots clicking across wooden floors, and doors opening slowly as though inviting someone or something inside. One tale tells of Jackson's own restless ghost. A spectral figure in a military uniform has been spotted near his tomb, standing rigid as if still on guard. Others describe hearing his booming voice in the distance, issuing orders to no one. The cries of enslaved people are said to linger as well, carried on the wind at night, a reminder of lives that once endured unimaginable suffering on this land. The Hermitage is a place where history and haunting overlap, where the grandeur of the past cannot erase the weight of what was suffered. Step too close after dark, and you may find that some legacies never fade, they reach out, demanding to be remembered. 2. Cragfont Mansion, Castellian Springs, Tennessee. Cragfont Mansion rises with stately grandeur, a stone reminder of Tennessee's frontier days. Built in 1802 by General James Winchester, the home was once a symbol of wealth and prestige, but wealth was purchased through tragedy. The mansion was constructed using enslaved labor, and bloodshed haunted the grounds even during its early years. Winchester himself died in the home, and many say he never left. Visitors stepping into Cragfont describe an unsettling weight in the air, as if eyes watch from the shadows of its high-ceilinged halls. Staff members have reported flickering lamps, the sound of footsteps pacing the stairwell, and the sharp scent of smoke, though no fire burns. Guests on tours have seen a woman in a flowing dress drifting silently across the parlor, her face pale and expressionless, before vanishing into the walls. Even more chilling are the children's voices. Echoes of laughter have been heard in the nursery, sometimes accompanied by the creak of a rocking chair moving on its own. Some claim to have felt small hands tugging at their clothes, invisible yet insistent. Cragfont is a place of contrast, beauty, and horror woven together. Beneath its elegance lies a reminder that history's shadows are not easily banished. For those who linger after dark, the house becomes a stage where the past insists on retelling itself. 3. Wheatlands Plantation, Sevierville, Tennessee. Nestled in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, Wheatlands Plantation wears its history like scars. Built in the late 1700s, the home and land were witness to brutal conflict long before the Civil War. Archaeologists discovered that the fields around the property were once a Native American battleground. Later, during the Revolutionary War, blood was spilled here again. And when Union and Confederate soldiers clashed in the region, the land drank deeply once more. It's little wonder, then, that the plantation is called one of the most haunted places in Tennessee. The home's history is filled with violent deaths, including duels, ambushes, and slave uprisings. Some accounts suggest more than 70 individuals died on the grounds. Their spirit, did it seem, have never departed. Guests report flickering lights and cold spots, whispers drifting through hallways, and full-bodied apparitions appearing at windows. Some say a phantom soldier patrols the grounds, rifle in hand, as though still defending his post. Others tell of spectral children seen darting through the fields, laughter fading into the night. But perhaps the most chilling reports come from the cellar, where enslaved people were once held. Visitors claim to hear chains rattling in the dark, or to feel the sensation of unseen hands brushing against their arms. The air grows thick, heavy, and unwelcoming, as if the very earth remembers. Wheatland's plantation is a place where history never rests, where blood and soil have bound the past into an eternal haunting. For Shiloh National Military Park, Shiloh, Tennessee. Shiloh was one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. In April 1862, more than 23,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or declared missing on these fields. The earth itself seemed to drink in the carnage, and some say it never gave it back. Today, Shiloh National Military Park is tranquil. The river glistens. Cannon sit silent, and the trees sway softly. Yet if you stand still long enough, the silence begins to fracture. Visitors have reported the muffled beat of distant drums, carried on the wind like a call to battle. Others have seen phantom soldiers marching across the fields, rifles slung over their shoulders, their faces pale and hollow. The most chilling are the cries, agonized shouts, and whispers of command, sometimes heard at dawn when the mist rolls heavy over the ground. One particular spot, known as the Bloody Pond, still turns the stomach. Here, wounded soldiers crawled to drink water, their blood staining it red. Tourists claim that on some nights, the water ripples though no breeze stirs, and faint red hues shimmer beneath the surface. Some even insist they've seen ghostly figures kneeling at its edge, cupping their hands into the water before vanishing into the mist. Shiloh is more than a battlefield memorial. It is a graveyard of memories, where the dead remain restless. The ground feels alive with whispers, as though the war still rages just beneath the soil. 5. Carnton Plantation, Franklin, Tennessee. The Carnton Plantation is beautiful on the surface, a stately home with wide porches and rolling fields. But its roots are soaked in blood. On November 30th, 1864, the Battle of Franklin turned this home into a field hospital for hundreds of wounded soldiers. The wooden floors ran slick with blood, and amputated limbs piled outside the windows. Death lingered in every room. Even today, the house feels steeped in that suffering. Visitors speak of cold drafts sweeping through locked rooms, and the sound of boots stomping across the floorboards, as though phantom soldiers still march through the halls. The faint smell of iron, metallic and sharp, sometimes hangs in the air, impossible to explain. One of the most unsettling accounts comes from the upstairs bedrooms. Dark stains remain on the floorboards where surgeons once worked. Guests have reported hearing moans of agony there, as though the walls themselves are replaying the moments of torment. Others have seen figures in Confederate uniforms standing solemnly in the doorway, only to vanish when confronted. Some believe the spirits linger not out of malice, but sorrow bound forever to the place where their lives were cut short. Walking Carnton's halls, it's hard not to feel as if the house itself breathes with memory, its every creak a whisper from the battlefield. The Carnton plantation may appear serene under the Tennessee sun, but when the night falls, the ghosts of war rise again. 6. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, Petrovum, Tennessee. In the heart of the Cumberland Mountains, surrounded by rugged peaks and dense forest, lies a prison built to break men. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary opened in 1896, housing the most dangerous criminals in Tennessee. Behind its stone walls, violence, desperation, and death were daily companions. The echoes of that suffering remain, and they are not quiet. Former guards and inmates alike have spoken of cold spots that freeze the blood, doors that slam without cause, and cell doors rattling violently in empty corridors. Some claim to hear screams in the night, cries so raw they seem torn from the throats of men long dead. The prison's most infamous inmate was James Earl Ray, the convicted assassin of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Though Ray died in 1998, some visitors believe his restless spirit still paces his old cell. Paranormal investigators have captured whispers on audio recorders, fragmented phrases like "get out" or "still here." Shadows creep along the walls, darting faster than human eyes can follow, and footsteps echo in the mess hall when no living soul is present. Tourists now wander Brushy Mountain's halls, drawn by its grim history. Yet many leave shaken, swearing that unseen eyes followed them at every step. The walls of Brushy Mountain have absorbed too much pain to rest peacefully. This prison may no longer cage the living, but it may forever cage the dead. 7. The Bell Witch Cave, Adams, Tennessee. Few legends in America strike fear like the Bell Witch. Her story begins in the early 1800s, when John Bell and his family reported relentless hauntings at their homestead in Adams. The entity tormented them with shrieks, disembodied voices, and physical assaults. Neighbors heard her mocking cries from miles away. Some even claim President Andrew Jackson himself once visited the Bell farm, only to flee after experiencing her wrath. Today, only the cave remains, a dark maw beneath the Tennessee soil. Step inside, and the temperature plummets. The air feels stale, as if time itself has stopped. Visitors describe being shoved by unseen hands, hearing growls that rumble through the stone, and catching the smell of sulfur, sharp, choking, unmistakable. One chilling legend warns that if you remove even a single rock from the cave, the witch will follow you home. Tales abound of tourists mailing back stones, desperate to rid themselves of streaks of bad luck, accidents, or worse. The witch's presence is said to guard the cave, watching with eyes no one can see, ensuring her domain is never forgotten. Standing there in the silence, water dripping in hollow echoes, you may wonder, was the Bell Witch merely a tale, or does she still whisper from the shadows, waiting for her next victim? The Bell Witch Cave remains one of Tennessee's darkest secrets, a place where legend and terror are bound so tightly, it is impossible to tell them apart. 8. Orpheum Theater, Memphis, Tennessee. The Orpheum Theater gleams with gilded beauty, a jewel of Memphis since the 1920s. But when the velvet curtains fall and the chandeliers dim, another presence claims the stage. Patrons and staff alike whisper about Mary, a young girl in a white dress who never left. According to legend, Mary died tragically in a car accident outside the theater nearly a century ago. Soon after, ushers began noticing her small figure in the balcony, legs swinging as though she were enjoying a show that only she could see. Musicians rehearsing late into the night reported giggles echoing through the rafters, followed by the flutter of unseen footsteps crossing the stage. Mary is playful, but not always gentle. Lights flicker when she is displeased. Seats fold down as if someone invisible has taken their place. And once, a grand piano played a single haunting note during an empty rehearsal. Security footage has caught shadows flitting across the aisles long after the last audience member has gone. Some say she lingers because the Orpheum was her favorite place in life, and so it remains her home in death. If you visit, look to the balcony. You may feel her gaze on you, curious and unblinking, as though deciding whether you're welcome at her eternal performance. Would you dare wave back? The Orpheum is where glamour and the afterlife entwine, where laughter and sorrow merge in a symphony of ghosts. 9. Sensabaugh Tunnel, Kingsport, Tennessee. On the outskirts of Kingsport, there's a tunnel where even your headlights feel swallowed by the dark. The Sensabaugh Tunnel looks like an ordinary weathered passage cut through the rock. But locals will tell you this place is cursed ground. Step inside, and the air grows heavy, damp with the smell of mildew and something metallic, like blood. Legends claim it was built in the early 20th century, only to become a chamber of grief. The most famous tale involves Edward Sensabaugh, the landowner after whom the tunnel is named. Some stories say he killed his entire family there, their cries echoing into the walls. Others insist travelers were robbed and left to die inside. While the history is muddled, the fear it inspires is not. Visitors dare each other to turn off their cars in the middle of the tunnel. They say if you do, your engine may refuse to start again, leaving you trapped in suffocating silence until you hear footsteps circling your car. Others have reported a woman's wail bouncing off the stone, or the faint sound of a crying baby. Imagine sitting in the dark, every instinct telling you to leave, when a handprint suddenly appears in the condensation on your windshield. Many don't stay long enough to find out who or what is reaching for them. The Sensabaugh Tunnel is not just a passage. It is a place where the past seeps into the present, clinging to all who enter. Some roads lead somewhere. This one, perhaps, leads nowhere at all. 10. The Ryman Auditorium, Nashville, Tennessee. They call it the Mother Church of country music, but when you walk beneath its high arches, you may feel something colder than reverence. Built in 1892 as a revival tabernacle, the Ryman has seen more than just gospel choirs and honky-tonk legends. Whispers tell of strange footsteps pacing the stage when the lights are gone, and curtains that sway when no draft exists. Some musicians claim they've heard their names whispered in the wings, low and drawn out, as though someone was waiting to be remembered. One of the most persistent apparitions is believed to be Captain Thomas Ryman himself, the steamboat captain who funded its construction. Ushers describe a shadowy man in an old-fashioned suit wandering the aisles, pausing as though listening to music only he can hear. Then, just as suddenly, he fades, leaving only the faint smell of pipe tobacco behind. Other accounts speak of a figure dressed in gray thought to be Hank Williams Sr., appearing at the side of the stage. Staff swear they've heard faint strums of guitar chords, though every instrument was locked away. Imagine standing in that vast auditorium, the silence thick when a single note hums from nowhere, too perfect, too real and none to dismiss. Would you clap in reverence or run for the exit? The Ryman remains alive with sound, but its echoes may belong not only to the living. When the house lights dim, the stage is set for shadows to perform their eternal encore. That concludes our descent into Tennessee's most haunted places, where echoes of war, tragedy, and restless spirits still linger in the night. Which of these stories sent the deepest chill down your spine? Let me know in the comments below. And if you crave more journeys into the dark corners of history, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and join us again next week, where the shadows are always waiting.